The school called me at 3:47 on a Tuesday afternoon and told me my daughter had been waiting for me for 3 hours. I did not have a daughter. I was 32 years old. I had lived alone in a one-bedroom apartment in Northeast Portland for 6 years. I had not been in a serious relationship in 3 years. I drove a Subaru Outback. I had 3 potted plants and a coffee maker I was very particular about. I worked as a senior software developer for a fintech company in the Pearl District, mostly remote, and on Tuesday afternoons I worked from my kitchen table with noise-canceling headphones on. I took the call because the number was a 541 area code, and 541 was Bend, Oregon, and the only person I knew in Bend was my college roommate Owen's grandmother, who was 84, and called me twice a year to ask if I had found a wife yet. The voice on the line was a woman I did not know. "Hello, this is Riley Hennessy, principal of Cascade Heights Elementary School in Bend. Am I speaking to Quinn Sinclair?" "Yes." "Mr. Sinclair, your daughter Iris has not been picked up from school today. She has been waiting in the office for 3 hours. We are unable to reach the other emergency contacts. We need you to come immediately, or we will need to contact Child Protective Services for neglect." I took off my headphones. "I'm sorry. You have the wrong number. I don't have a daughter. I'm 32 years old. I'm single. I live in Portland. I have not been to Bend in 5 years. Mr. Sinclair, your name is on this child's emergency contact card. Your phone number matches. Your home address is listed as Northeast Portland. Are you Quinn Stewart Sinclair, born June 3rd, 1992? I sat very still. "Yes." "Then we need you to come to Bend immediately. The drive is approximately 3 hours. You need to leave now, or we are calling the police." "There has been a mistake. I do not have a daughter. I have never had a daughter. Mr. Sinclair, your name was added to this child's emergency contact card by her mother in September of last year. Your name was supported by notarized documentation that our district accepted at that time. We attempted to verify the addition with you directly when it was made, but our calls went to voicemail and were never returned. Mrs. Bellamy has been our primary contact for the last 6 years. She is the only other person listed on the card besides yourself. We have been unable to reach her since 1:30 p.m. this afternoon. Her parents, the secondary contacts, are also not answering their phones. We have a 6-year-old child who has been sitting in our office for 3 hours waiting for someone to come for her." The line went quiet. I tried to remember September of last year. There had been weeks at a time when I let unknown calls go to voicemail. I deleted voicemails from numbers I did not recognize without listening to them. It was a habit I now regretted. I said, "Did you say Mrs. Bellamy?" "Yes, Maeve Bellamy." I closed my eyes. In the summer of 2018, I had a 6-week relationship with a graphic designer named Maeve Bellamy. She lived in Bend. I was visiting from Portland for a friend's wedding. We met at the rehearsal dinner. We dated for 6 weeks. We parted at the end of August when I drove back to Portland for my job. She was 26 years old. I was 26. We had not stayed in touch. I had not heard her voice in 6.5 years. "I am leaving now. Mr. Sinclair, I am driving to Bend right now. I will be there in 3 hours. Please do not call the police. Please tell the little girl that someone is coming." I hung up. I sat at my kitchen table for 30 seconds. I stood up. I put on a jacket. I picked up my keys. I drove to Bend. The drive from Portland to Bend takes 3 hours through the high desert if you do not stop. I did not stop. I drove the speed limit because I did not want to be pulled over. I held the steering wheel with both hands. I tried not to think. I thought anyway. Maeve Bellamy, auburn hair, a laugh that came out of nowhere. She had been a graphic designer for a marketing firm in Bend, working on tourism campaigns for the high desert. We had met at a rehearsal dinner at a winery. We had spent 6 weeks together hiking, kayaking, drinking coffee at her favorite shop on Galveston Avenue. I had stayed at her apartment most nights of those last 3 weeks. We had been careful. We had used protection. We had not been careful enough. 6 weeks later, I had returned to Portland. I had texted her twice in September of 2018. She had responded warmly but briefly. By October, our texts had stopped. I had assumed she had moved on. I had not pursued it because I was 26 and emotionally guarded and starting a new job and convinced that long distance never worked. I had not heard from her since. For 6.5 years. My phone rang again at 5:14 p.m. I was outside Madras halfway through the drive. It was Riley Hennessy again. "Mr. Sinclair, I need to tell you something else before you arrive. We just got through to one of the secondary emergency contacts, Iris's grandfather, Augustin Bellamy. He is at a hospital. He just had a heart-related episode at his cardiology appointment that ran long. His wife has been with him." "Okay. Mr. Sinclair, Maeve Bellamy passed away 2 days ago. The school had not yet sent district-wide updates to all our emergency contact systems. The grandparents had been planning to pick Iris up today, but the cardiology appointment ran into emergency territory and they forgot. Iris has been at school all day, not knowing her mother is gone. She came in this morning thinking it was a normal school day. Mr. Sinclair, this little girl has had the worst week of her life, and she is sitting in our office waiting for her father." I gripped the steering wheel. "How did Maeve die?" "She had been ill for some time. I do not know the exact details. The grandparents will tell you when you arrive." "Thank you. Mr. Sinclair, one more thing." "Yes. Iris has been talking about you for the last year. Her mother had told her about you. She knew you would come." I drove the rest of the way to Bend without speaking, without breathing right, with both hands on the wheel and the late winter sun setting through my windshield. I arrived at Cascade Heights Elementary School at 7:18 p.m. The building was technically closed. The parking lot was empty except for 2 cars. The front entrance was locked. A woman in a wool coat was waiting by the door. "Mr. Sinclair." "Yes. I'm Riley Hennessy. Thank you for coming. Iris is in my office with our school counselor." She unlocked the door. I followed her through dark hallways. The principal's office was small and warm. There was a couch under the window. There was a desk with a banker's lamp on. There was a bookshelf with picture books and small stuffed animals. A woman about Riley's age was sitting in a chair next to the couch. "This is Linnea Bromley, our school counselor." "Hello, Mr. Sinclair." I nodded. I could not speak. On the couch, beside the window, sat a small girl in a blue sweater and gray leggings. She was holding a stuffed elephant. Her hair was dark. Her eyes were brown. She looked like she might weigh 40 pounds. She looked up at me. She did not cry. She did not run. She looked at my face for a long moment. She looked at my hair. She looked at my hands. She stood up. She walked slowly across the office floor and stopped 2 feet away from me. "Are you my dad?" I went down on one knee. I tried to speak. I could not. I tried again. "Yes, sweetheart, I'm your dad." She studied my face for another moment. Then she dropped the elephant on the carpet and put her thin arms around my neck. She held on like she had been waiting 6 years to do it. Maybe she had. "It's okay, Dad. You're here now." I held my daughter. I held her for a very long time. The school counselor, Linnea, was crying quietly in her chair. The principal, Riley, was standing by the door, not crying, not smiling, just watching the way people watch something they will remember for the rest of their lives. After what felt like 10 minutes but was probably 2, Iris let go. She picked up the elephant. She looked at me with the kind of practical seriousness that 6-year-olds have. "Mom said you would come from Portland." She was right. "Did you drive in your car?" "Yes." "What kind of car?" "A blue Subaru." She nodded thoughtfully. "Mom had a green one, but hers broke last year." What did she have now?" "A red Toyota, with dents on the front because she hit a deer once." "That sounds like a useful car." "It is." She looked toward the principal. "Can I go with him now, Mrs. Hennessy?" Riley looked at me. "Mr. Sinclair, The grandparents are at the hospital still. They would like you to bring Iris to their farm. They will meet you there. Okay. The address is in our records. I will print directions for you. I picked up Iris's small purple backpack from the corner of the office. I picked up her elephant. I held her hand. She held mine back. She did not look back at the school as we walked out. In the parking lot, she looked at my Subaru. It's bluer than I thought. Is that okay? Yes. I helped her into the back seat. She got in the seat behind the passenger seat, not behind the driver. I realized later that this was because that was where her mother always put her in the red Toyota. She wanted to look at me through the rearview mirror. I pulled out of the school parking lot. She said, "Dad." "Yes." "Mom said when I met you, I should tell you something." "Okay." She said I should tell you she was sorry. I gripped the steering wheel. "Sweetheart, she doesn't have to be sorry. She did a wonderful job with you." That's what she said you would say. I drove for a while, in silence. After 10 minutes, she said, "Dad." "Yes." "What do I call you?" "What do you want to call me?" She thought about it carefully. "Dad. I think Dad is good." "Then call me Dad." "Okay, Dad." The Bellamy farm was 20 minutes outside Bend on a county road that wound through dry grass and pine trees. A 2-story farmhouse with a wraparound porch, a red barn behind it, a chicken coop, 3 pickup trucks in the driveway. A man in his early 70s stood on the porch as I pulled up. He was tall, weathered, broad-shouldered. He had on a gray flannel shirt and work jeans. His hair was white. His face was lined. He had been crying. A woman stood next to him. She was smaller, gray-haired, in a navy cardigan. Her hands were folded in front of her. I parked. I unbuckled Iris from the back seat. I carried her on my hip up the porch steps. She was light but solid. She held my collar with one small hand. The grandfather looked at me. His eyes were red. He was looking at his granddaughter on my hip. He said one thing. "You have the same hands." His wife, Iris's grandmother, said quietly, "Augustine, let them in. The child needs food." We went inside. The kitchen was warm. There was beef stew on the stove. There was bread on the counter. There was a pot of coffee. The grandmother had been cooking to keep her hands busy, I would later understand, because she did not know what else to do. Iris ran to her grandmother and hugged her around the waist. "Grandma." "Hello, my sweet girl. Are you hungry?" "A little." "Sit at the table." Iris sat. Her grandmother poured her a glass of milk. The grandfather and I were standing in the kitchen doorway. He looked at me. I looked at him. He said, quietly, "Outside, just for a minute." I followed him out to the porch. He closed the door behind him. He looked at the dark yard, the pine trees, the faded barn. When he spoke, his voice was rough. "You, after 7 years. Mr. Bellamy. Augustine. Augustine." "Sir, I did not know." "You did not know what?" "I did not know about her." He turned and looked at me. His face was very still. "What do you mean you did not know?" "Sir, I had a relationship with your daughter in the summer of 2018, 6 weeks. I went home to Portland in late August. We exchanged a few text messages in September. By October, we had stopped. I did not know she was pregnant. I did not know she had a child. I did not know she had been raising my daughter for 6 years. I learned about all of it at 3:47 this afternoon when the school called me." He stared at me. "My daughter never told me she did not tell you." "No, sir. She let me believe for 7 years that you knew, that you had abandoned her, that you knew you had a child and you were not coming back for her. Sir, I am so sorry." He turned away. He looked at the barn for a long time. When he turned back, his face had changed. Not warm, but different. "I have been carrying 7 years of being angry at the wrong man. Augustine, you do not have to apologize to me. My daughter's choice was my daughter's choice. I am not angry at you. I am angry at her, and I cannot be angry at her because she is dead. I know, sir. He stood there for a long moment. He said, "She left a letter for you." A letter? Inside her apartment, on the kitchen table, with your name on it. She had it ready for 2 months. She left instructions that it was to be given to you only after she died, and only when you came for Iris. She told me about it last week. Have you read it? No. I have wanted to. I did not. Why not? Because she wrote it for you. Not me. He looked at me. Iris will sleep here tonight. She has been here every night since Maeve got too sick. Tomorrow morning, you will come back here at 9, and you will go with me to Maeve's apartment, and you will take the letter, and you will read it. Then we will sit down, and we will figure out what happens next. Yes, sir. And Mr. Sinclair. Quinn. Tonight, at this dinner table, you and I are going to be civil for the sake of that child in there. She has had the worst week of her life. We are going to feed her and put her to bed, and she is going to sleep tonight knowing that her father came for her. Whatever happens between us tomorrow, happens tomorrow. Tonight we eat dinner. Yes, sir. We went back inside. Iris ate beef stew and 3 pieces of bread. She told me about her teacher, Mrs. Tomlinson, and her best friend at school, a boy named Ben who had a missing front tooth. She told me about her elephant, whose name was Mr. Pickles, and who had been with her since she was 3. She told me about her cat, Toby, who was at the apartment and would need to be picked up tomorrow. I listened. I asked questions. I learned that my daughter loved horses, was scared of spiders, could read at a 3rd-grade level, and was learning piano. After dinner, Iris's grandmother helped her into pajamas. I sat on the edge of a small twin bed in a guest room that had clearly become Iris's 2nd bedroom over the past months. There was a stuffed animal collection on a shelf. There was a small reading lamp. There was a photograph on the bedside table of Maeve and Iris at a pumpkin patch. I read Iris a chapter of Charlotte's Web. It was the book on her bedside. She fell asleep with one hand on Mr. Pickles and one hand on my forearm. I sat there for half an hour. I slept that night at a hotel in downtown Bend. I did not sleep well. The next morning I was at Augustin's farm at 8:55 a.m. He was already in his truck. I rode with him to Maeve's apartment. The apartment was a 2-bedroom in a cottage-style complex on the west side of Bend. Augustin unlocked the door with a key. The apartment smelled like a young woman and her daughter. Lavender. Coffee. A faint trace of art supplies. Iris's drawings were on the refrigerator. A small stuffed animal collection was on a shelf. Photographs were on a side table, Maeve and Iris at the beach. Maeve and Iris at a pumpkin patch. Maeve and Iris in front of a Christmas tree last year, when Maeve was already sick but smiling. A sealed envelope was on the kitchen table. My name was on it. The handwriting was Maeve's. I had received exactly 1 piece of paper from Maeve in my life. A postcard she had sent me from a work trip in October 2018, 6 weeks after we parted. The handwriting was the same. Augustin watched me see the envelope. My daughter wrote that for you. She had it ready for 2 months. I have wanted to open it. I have not. It is yours. Sir, may I take it? Yes. He looked around the apartment. I am going to step outside. I will sit on the front step. Take whatever time you need. He left. I sat at Maeve's kitchen table. I opened the envelope. I read the letter. It was 6 pages, heavy stationery, dated 3 weeks before her death. Quinn, if you are reading this, I am dead. You have come for Iris, and you have 1,000 questions. I am going to answer as many as I can. I am sorry I cannot answer them in person. I had been planning to call you next week. I have been planning to call you for almost 3 months. I have been a coward. I will start at the beginning. The summer of 2018 was real. I want you to know that. It was not a fling. It was real. I remember every coffee at Lone Pine, every hike at Smith Rock, every night you stayed at my apartment. You were kind and curious and emotionally guarded in a way I recognized because I was the same. We were two careful people who let our guards down at exactly the same time for 6 weeks, and then put them back up because the geography did not work and we were both afraid. I was not afraid the way I thought I was. I was afraid of how much I had liked you. In October of 2018, I found out I was pregnant. I had stopped responding to your texts because I was trying to figure out what I felt and what to do. When I found out I was pregnant, I made a decision in about 12 hours that I have thought about every day for the past 6 years. I decided not to tell you. My reasons at the time felt good. I was 26. I was financially stable. I had a steady job. My parents lived 20 minutes away and were healthy and supportive. I could raise this child. You were 26, in a new job, lived 3 hours away, and had told me that you had not been ready for serious things in your life yet. I felt that telling you would force a decision on you that you did not have the maturity to make freely. I felt that I was being generous by taking the choice from you. I now know I was being arrogant. I now know that what I called generosity was actually fear of rejection, that I would tell you, and you would say, "I cannot do this," and I would have to spend the rest of my life knowing I had been chosen against, so I did not give you the chance. I have thought about that decision every day since Iris was born. I have not regretted Iris. I have regretted the way I did it. Iris was born on February 19th, 2019. She was small. She was perfect. She has been the joy of my life for 6 years. I was a good mother to her. I was not perfect, but I was good. In April of 2023, I was diagnosed with stage IV pancreatic cancer. My doctors gave me 18 to 24 months. I was 31. Iris was 4. I did not tell you then. I should have. I told myself I would tell you soon. For 2 years I told myself soon. It is the great regret of my life that I did not call you when I still had the energy to do it well. 18 months ago, I started preparing. I hired Emerson Donaldson, a family attorney here in Bend. Emerson did the legal work and also did the practical work. He hired an investigator who confirmed your current address, confirmed you still lived in Portland, confirmed your phone number had been the same since 2018. You had not changed it. That made everything possible. We prepared an acknowledgement of paternity, a custody petition, and a notarized letter explaining that you are Iris's biological father. I changed Iris's school emergency contacts 6 months ago to list you as primary. I did all of this so that, when I died, the legal mechanism would activate without me having to be there. The school tried to call you when I added you. You did not answer. I had asked Emerson to leave specific voicemails, but you never returned the calls. I assumed you screened unknown numbers. I told myself it did not matter when the time came. The school would call you again, and you would answer that time. I now realize how arrogant that was. If you had not answered yesterday's call, I would have failed Iris twice. I told myself I would call you next. I never did. Then last week, I had a complication during my chemotherapy that my doctors had not anticipated. I am writing this from a hospital bed. I am not going home from this hospital. I have somewhere between 4 days and 3 weeks. They cannot tell me which. I have run out of next week's. Quinn, I am asking you for one thing. Be her father. Not because you owe me. Not because you owe her. Because she is yours. Because she is a remarkable person. Because she has known about you for the last year of her life, I told her you were a good man who lived in Portland and would love her when you met her. I told her this because I wanted her to be ready for you. She has been ready for you for a year, Quinn. I have not been ready to call you. I am sorry. I am so very sorry. The other thing I need to tell you, my parents, Augustin and Adelina, they believe you abandoned me. They think you knew I was pregnant, and you did not come back. I never corrected this because I could not bear to tell my father what I had actually done. He has been angry at you for 7 years. He does not know the truth. Please tell him. He will be angry. He will eventually understand. He loves Iris more than anything in the world. He will become your ally if you give him time and tell him the truth. Last thing. I want you to know, having watched her grow for 6 years, that Iris is the best person I have ever known. She is patient. She is kind. She notices things. She will notice everything about you. Do not perform for her. Do not pretend to know what you do not know. Just be present. Be honest. Tell her when you are sad. Tell her when you are scared. Tell her when you do not know how to do something. She will respect you for it. She is small, but she is wise. I am not sorry that I am leaving her with you. She belongs to you as much as she ever belonged to me. I am sorry for the lost years. I am sorry I did not call. I am sorry that you are reading this in my apartment instead of meeting me in a coffee shop. I am sorry, Quinn. Be her father. That is the only thing I am asking you. Be her father. Maeve. P.S. She loves horses. She is scared of spiders. She is reading at a 3rd grade level. Her cat is named Toby, and he is a coward, and you must protect him from neighborhood dogs. Good night. I sat at Maeve's kitchen table for 45 minutes after I finished reading. I read the letter 4 times. I cried for the first time in 4 years. I went outside. Augustin was sitting on the front step. He had been waiting. I sat down next to him. I handed him the letter. Read it. It is for you. Read it. You need to. He took it. He put on reading glasses. He read for 15 minutes without saying a word. When he was done, he folded the letter carefully and handed it back to me. He did not look at me for a long moment. When he did, his eyes were wet. My daughter. Yes, my daughter was a coward at the end. Sir, we are all cowards at the end. He nodded slowly. And you did not abandon her. No, sir. I have been wrong for 7 years. You did not have the information. I should have asked her. She would not have told you. He nodded again. He looked at the apartment door. Quinn. Yes. What is your plan? I am going to move to Bend. He looked at me. You have a job in Portland. My job will be remote. I have already thought about it. I will sell my apartment. I will rent a house here. I will be 6 minutes from your farm. Iris will see you and Adelina 3 times a week. She will know her grandparents. She will know her father. She will know everyone who loves her. He sat with that. You worked this out fast. I worked it out on the drive yesterday. He nodded. He stood up. He held out his hand. Quinn, I owe you an apology I cannot fully give you. I will spend the rest of my life trying to make up for it. Will you accept that? I stood up. I shook his hand. There is nothing to make up for, Augustin. We are family now. Whatever else has happened. He held my hand for a long moment. He said, Welcome to Bend. The DNA test confirmed what we already knew. I went to a clinic with Iris that afternoon. She thought the cheek swab was hilarious. The lab technician gave her a sticker that said, Times Brave Patient. She put it on her elephant. The results came back 5 days later. 99.99% probability of paternity. I called my mother, Bridget, that night from my hotel room. She was 64, retired, living in Rochester, New York. Mom. What? Quinn. Mom. I have a daughter. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. She said, Tell me everything. I told her everything. She listened for 40 minutes without interrupting. When I finished, she said, Quinn, I'm flying to Bend tomorrow. I need to meet my granddaughter. She arrived the next afternoon. She met Iris at the Bellamy farm. Iris had been told that morning that she had a grandmother in Rochester named Bridget who wanted to meet her. Iris walked up to my mother on the front porch and said, Hi, I'm Iris. I'm your granddaughter. My mother sat down on the porch step and pulled my daughter into her lap and wept. Adelina, watching from the doorway, wept too. Augustin sat in his rocking chair and looked at the pine trees and did not weep, but his hand on the arm of the chair was shaking. I called my best friend Owen Quigley at work the next morning. "Owen, I need 3 weeks of leave. What's going on?" I told him. He said, "Quinn, take 6 weeks. Take whatever you need. I will cover your work. Go figure out how to be a father." I called my attorney, Niall Pierce, in Portland, a family law attorney recommended by my company's HR. He reviewed Maeve's prepared documents. "Quinn, what she set up here is airtight. Acknowledged paternity. Custody petition pre-filed. The grandparents have no legal standing to fight it even if they wanted to, which they don't. The hearing is procedural. You will be Iris's legal father in 8 to 12 weeks. Niall, I want this to be friendly. The grandparents need to stay in her life." "I understand. I will write the petition that way. We will keep it cooperative." The custody hearing took place on the 14th of May, 2025, in Deschutes County Circuit Court. Augustin testified in support of the petition. He said, "Your Honor, my daughter prepared everything in advance because she knew her time was limited. The man you see here is the father my granddaughter has been waiting for. My wife and I support this fully. We ask only to remain part of her life." The judge, Honorable Maureen Whitaker, a 67-year-old woman who had been on the family court bench for 20 years, read the petition, the DNA results, and Maeve's notarized letter to me. She looked at me. "Mr. Sinclair, your daughter is one of the lucky ones. Her mother saw clearly what she needed and made arrangements. Your job is to be the father this child has been waiting for. Are you prepared to do that?" "Yes, Your Honor." "Then, this petition is granted. Iris Bellamy Sinclair is in your custody as of today." She struck the gavel. Iris had been in the courtroom with Adelina. She walked across the floor and stood next to me. She held my hand. The judge looked at her. "Iris, how are you doing today?" "Good, Your Honor." "Are you happy with this?" "Yes, Your Honor." "Why is that?" "Because Mom said he would come from Portland." And he did. The bailiff was crying. I sold my Portland apartment in early June 2025. I rented a yellow craftsman bungalow on a quiet street in Bend, 6 minutes from Augustin and Adelina's farm. I furnished Iris's room based on her preferences: purple, marine animals, a reading nook in the corner with a small armchair. Iris moved into the house on the 1st of June, 2025. She brought Mr. Pickles. She brought Toby the cat. She brought a small box of her mother's photographs that she wanted to keep on her dresser. The first month was hard. She woke up at night calling for her mother. I sat on her bed. I held her hand. I told her stories about Maeve that I had learned from Augustin and Adelina, and from the photographs and from her own memories. I did not pretend to be a substitute. I told her her mother had been irreplaceable. She asked me questions. I answered honestly. She asked me why her mother had not told me about her sooner. I told her the truth in age-appropriate ways, that her mother had loved her and had made the choice she thought was right at the time, and that her mother had been working very hard the last year to make sure Iris would be okay. By August, Iris was sleeping through the night. By October, she was laughing at my bad jokes. By Christmas, she was correcting my hair braiding technique. By February of 2026, she was calling me Dad without thinking about it. It is now spring of 2026. I am 33 years old. Iris is 7. We live in the yellow craftsman bungalow on a quiet street in Bend. Augustin and Adelina come for Sunday dinner every week. Adelina is teaching Iris how to bake bread. Augustin is teaching her how to tend chickens at the farm. Iris named one of the chickens Maeve, and the rest of the flock now follows that one around like it is in charge. My mother Bridget visits 4 times a year. She brings books. She tells Iris stories about me at her age. Iris loves her. My sister Emery and her husband visited at Thanksgiving with their 2 boys. Iris met her cousins for the first time. They built a fort in the backyard. Owen Quigley comes from Portland twice a year. He is teaching Iris how to throw a softball. He calls her Kiddo. She calls him Uncle O. I still work as a senior software developer, fully remote. I work the hours she is at school. I cook dinner most nights. I drive her to school every morning at 7:45. I read to her at bedtime. I have not dated since the call from the school. I think I might, eventually. There is a teacher at her school named Greer Tomlinson. She is kind and quiet, and we have spoken 3 times. I am not ready yet. There is too much to learn first. Sometimes I think about Maeve. I do not think about her with anger. The anger would not honor her. She made a choice that hurt me, and that hurt our daughter, and that she eventually understood was wrong. She spent the last 18 months of her life preparing to give me back something she had taken, and she did it well enough that, when she died, unexpectedly, the mechanism worked anyway. She died sooner than she meant to. But she had prepared for the possibility. That is what mothers do. I think about the summer of 2018. I think about Smith Rock. I think about coffee at Lone Pine. I think about the way she laughed when I tried to pronounce sisters, the way locals did. I think about the daughter we made together without knowing it. I think about how close I came to never knowing her. If the school had not had my phone number on file, if Riley Hennessy had not been thorough enough to verify my date of birth, if Augustin had not had a heart episode that day that prevented him from picking Iris up, if any one of those small chains had not connected, I would still be in my apartment in Northeast Portland with my noise-canceling headphones on, working on back-end systems for a fintech company, eating microwave dinners, having no idea that the most important person in my life was 60 miles away calling for me at school. The school called me at 3:47 on a Tuesday afternoon. It was not a wrong number. It was the most important phone call of my life. So, let me ask you something. If a phone call came tomorrow telling you that you were a parent to a child you did not know existed, would you go? Would you doubt? Would you ask for proof first? Or would you get in the car and drive? I almost asked for proof. I am very glad I did not. Sometimes the things we do not know are the things that have already shaped us. Sometimes the call you did not expect is the call that gives you back to yourself. If you have a child in your life who has been waiting for you to show up your own, or someone else's dropped their first name in the comments below, just one name. I read every single one. If this story moved you, hit the like button. Share it with someone who has waited for someone to come. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. I will see you in the next one.